Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Hello to my fellow long-term thinkers. Colin here with more observations about where we are in society and where we need to go to and how you can protect yourself going forward. So today I'm going to talk about stability or instability in the systems that govern us. These were basically devised back in about 1946, just after the Second World War. There was an agreement between the winning nations, the Allied nations, called the Bretton Woods Agreement, where they decided that America's dollar was going to be the reserve currency and that was going to be backed by gold, and then all the other currencies would use that currency as a base to trade against, and they would measure their own currencies against that in terms of exchange rates and things like that. So that was geared up for a while, till about 1971 I think it was, or around about that time. Nixon basically decided he needed more money because there was a lot of expensive things happening, the Vietnam War and things like that. So he took America off the gold standard, and then from then on all the currencies around the world, the dollar and all the other currencies that were pegged to it, became fiat currencies, which are basically just traded on perceived wealth of the currency and the sort of financial stability of the respective nations that use those currencies. So that's been fine for a while, but it's been abused a bit, and as always, politicians are trying to please their voters, and there's been a lot of money printing, and that has led to inflation, and inflation has effectively devalued the currencies, and we're getting to a point where there's so much debt in the system that things are going to basically come to a halt because the governments can't afford to pay the debt that's due to them on the borrowing that they've made against the various currencies that they have. And what's happening then is that basically the current people who hold these currencies start to get worried and start to look for other places to put their wealth, and the currencies at that point can basically implode. So we're very close to that point now. That's why if you want to protect yourself, you need to get outside the system. You need to think about other assets. Property can be an asset outside the system, but even that is now subject to potential tax grabs by governments. They're starting to talk about wealth taxes, and when they say wealth, they don't mean rich people, because there aren't that many of them. They mean basically normal people, ordinary working people who own property. So they're going to start taxing that now. It's all being mooted as, it's only going to be just a 0.8% or something, which is still a significant amount of money to find every year. But whenever governments start bringing in taxes like that, they just increase them over time. Stamp duty was brought in. It was just a very minor tax back in the day, but politicians find it irresistible to just increase taxes once they've got them set up. And stamp duty is now a major impediment to property buying and selling. Our illustrious Deputy Prime Minister in the UK just lost her job because she underpaid on stamp duty. So that just tells you that is not a particularly effective means to raise money for the country that's sustainable. So yeah, I think if you want to protect yourself, you need to get other assets. Gold is an obvious one at the moment, but the other thing about gold is it has been confiscated in the past. In America, I think it was Roosevelt who, around about 1934, just after the start of the Great Depression, America was in such a bad place that Roosevelt confiscated all the citizens' gold. So it's a big sort of propaganda campaign, and people were told that if you hold gold, it's your civic duty to give it to the government to support the country because we need the money. And once I think they had to sell it at $34 an ounce or something like that. And once Roosevelt and the government had seized all the gold, and we're not talking about jewellery, we're talking about gold bullion and coins and things like that, which people hold as a store of value. So once the government got that back in again, they revalued the gold, and so effectively they just wrote themselves a big cheque, and that helped pay some of the debts. Now it's possible, people are talking about a gold revaluation at the moment. Now that would be a smart move for the American government, because currently the gold is still valued, I think, at $45, and the actual value of gold is about $3,500 per ounce as we speak. So if they revalued the gold at this time, that would make a massive dent in their government debt and improve the economy. They'll be able to pay for lots of new public projects and things like that. And so if you hold gold, it could be a good time, but just don't know what's going to happen with gold. It's interesting times. Silver's in the same place. All precious metals are kind of affected by this kind of potential change in the value, but they're also potentially affected by future government confiscation as well. The other place where you can possibly look at storing money is things like movable assets such as wine, art, things like that. These are actually quite hard to trade, and you need to know quite a lot about what you're doing, otherwise you can buy something which is a fake, or it's hard to find a market to trade it. They're quite illiquid. Luxury cars is another area, but all these things are full of risk in a sense, because if you don't know exactly what you're doing, then you can sort of lose a lot of money. So I'm coming around to the idea that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are the future if you want to protect yourself over the longer term. And that's the way we should be thinking, because there's a lot of short-term noise, there's a lot of change, we're seeing society getting very fragmented. All of that is just a distraction. We'll still be here in 10 years' time. The financial system might not be here in 10 years' time, but society will still exist unless there's something absolutely catastrophic like a third world nuclear war, in which case it's not really a big issue. I don't think we'll be talking like this if that's the case. But all things considered, I think we'll still be here in 10 years' time, and my best advice is to find a way to invest in cryptocurrency. And there's plenty of information out there. I'll maybe talk a little bit more about it. It's actually quite hard to do in the UK. The only way we can really do it is by using a third-party exchange. The banks don't let you buy crypto directly, which is annoying, because with a third-party exchange you've got counterparty risk. We've already seen one major exchange go into receivership, and I think the guy got done for mistrading or something like that. He was put in jail. So whenever you got your asset held by a third party, e.g. a bank or a investment company, you're relying on the stability of that particular institution to get your money back. And that's why cryptocurrency is so attractive. If you can hold it self-storage, then you don't have a third party counterparty risk, and you also are guaranteed that it can't be destroyed, because certainly in the case of Bitcoin, the ledger is a shared ledger, it's a network. So anyone who holds Bitcoin in self-storage actually owns the whole ledger for all of the Bitcoin. So governments can't get rid of it, because it's replicated in everybody's machine. So it's unlikely you'll get 100% of the countries in the world all agreeing to clamp down on Bitcoin. So I think that is the future, and it'll probably be the future for hundreds of years. It's probably going to replace conventional money. Most people in society haven't spotted that yet. The Financial Conduct Authority in the UK don't seem to have a clue about this, and they still seem to think it's a risky investment, despite the fact it went up 100% last year. And if you look at how much it's gone up since it was basically introduced, it's millions of percent. I mean, it's such a big number I couldn't even pronounce it. But go on, CoinMarketCap is the website. You can see the movement of all the relative cryptocurrencies on there, and you can see how they all perform. So my three that I'm interested in at the moment is Bitcoin, Ethereum and XRP. XRP is the crypto which governments and institutions are looking at seriously to build sort of central bank digital currencies upon. So I think that will always have value. Not quite sure how that's going to work in terms of how that is going to translate into individual value if you own that particular asset, but I don't understand everything at the moment. Some things can become clear because we're only getting so much information shared with us as a public entity. So that's a hedge for me as XRP. I think Bitcoin's the biggie, and I think Ethereum's also quite interesting because in the future that is going to be used as the sort of underlying programmable internet entity which they build other assets on top of. So things like in the future, when you buy a house, when you've got any contract, for example, that will be done electronically and stored on Ethereum. So that's going to have potential value as well, I think, and it's moved quite a lot in recent times as well. Okay folks, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about these topics that I'm talking about. I'd be interested to know what you think. The only way we can educate ourselves is by testing our ideas in the real world and discussing these things. So that's what it's all about. Okay, tune in for more long-term thinking tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then.